Okay, as you know, 12 days ago I had dinner with President Trump, a dinner that was set up by my friend Kid Rock, because we share a belief that there's got to be something better than hurling insults from 3,000 miles away. And let me first say that to all the people who treated this like it was some kind of summit meeting, you're ridiculous. First good sign, before I left for the Capitol, I had my staff collect and print out this list of almost 60 different insulting epithets that the president has said about me. Things like stupid, dummy, lowlife dummy, sleazebag, sick, sad, stone cold crazy. Really a dumb guy, fired like a dog, his show is dead. There's 60. I brought this to the White House because I wanted him to sign it, which he did. Which he did with good humor. And I know as I say that, millions of liberal sphincters just tightened. Oh my God, Bill, are you going to say something nice about him?
You know, I give Bill Maher credit here. I mean, I don't agree with everything he says, and he definitely is a little woke sometimes, but he seems like out of Democrats, he has his head on straight more than a lot of the other ones. He realizes that everybody can't be enemies forever. So I appreciate him in the way that he's talking here, and he realizes that both sides have to get along at a certain point. This just can't be the same divisive stuff for both sides forever. I mean, it's not meant to be like that. We have more things that bind us in common than separate us, even though today's time is definitely getting crazy, so.
So, no, I didn't go MAGA. And to the president's credit, there was no pressure to. My friend said to me, "What are you going to wear to the White House?" I said, "I don't know, but I'm not going to dress like Zelensky, I'll tell you that." Okay. Just for starters, he laughs. I'd never seen him laugh in public, but he does, including at himself. And it's not fake. Believe me, as a comedian of 40 years, I know a fake laugh when I hear it. And I thank you for them. No. But, okay. Example, in the Oval Office, he was showing me the portraits of presidents, and he pointed to Reagan and said, in all seriousness, you know the best thing about him? His hair. I said, well, there was also that whole bringing down communism thing, waiting for the button next to the Diet Coke button to get pushed and I go through the trap door.
You know, like I've said before, I don't think the mainstream media will ever show you anything nice about Donald Trump. I just think that they're so caught up with the derangement, they have no interest in showing you anything other than negativity, which we're used to that. But the problem is you can't just depict somebody as completely bad and the other side is good. I think people see through that charade. That's part of the reason why Trump got in, is that the Democrats were doing a horrendous job. And then you're trying to present it as like, oh, they're doing a fantastic job. And people are thinking, are you crazy? Look at what's going on. I mean, you could look at the border and the nonstop wars and the economy and say, you know, things are in bad shape. And trying to present it as like something's in good shape when it's not is never going to work out. So I give Bill Maher credit. At least he's being honest here and he's not like being tainted.
Look, I get it. It doesn't matter who he is at a private dinner with a comedian. It matters who he is on the world stage. I'm just taking it as a positive that this person exists, because everything I've ever not liked about him was, I swear to God, absent, at least on this night with this guy. Bob, Kid Rock, told me the night before, he said, if you want to get a word in edgewise, you're going to have to cut him off. He'll just go on. Not at all. I've had so many conversations with prominent people who are much less connected, people who don't look you in the eye, people who don't really listen because they just want to get to their next thing, people whose response to things you say just doesn't track, like, what? None of that with him. And he mostly steered the conversation to, what do you think about this? I know, your mind is blown, so's mine.
I mean, as you see, even Bill Maher has to admit, Trump is probably definitely misunderstood big time. I realize that his mouth and his tongue gets him in trouble with the media, but I appreciate him coming out here and pointing out all this stuff because, again, this is not something you'd hear from any other left-winger if they went over there. They'd just go back to back to the usual Trump bashing. So I give him credit for being honest here, at least, calling it out in a good light. Again, I think Trump's not as bad of a guy as anybody lets out there, as the media lets on. He's probably a lot better. It's just all they hear is his comments and the way he talks, and so people are like, oh my God, he's the worst thing ever. But in reality, he's actually really good for the country.
I told him he was wrong when he tweeted the night before that I was critical of all things Trump. Not true. Check the tapes. Moving Israel's embassy to Jerusalem, loved it. The border did need to be controlled. I'm glad the cops are getting their morale back. DEI had gone too far. Biological men shouldn't be playing women's sports. Europe should pay for their defense. And of course, it makes sense that Arab countries should take in Arab refugees, like the million Syrians who wound up in Germany when Saudi Arabia took none.
See, and he says stuff that other just liberals don't say, like, nobody wants to have, girls playing it or men playing in girls' sports. I mean, obviously. I mean, he has more of a common sense approach. I mean, these are just simple things that we're tired of. Europe should be paying for the defense. I mean, these aren't crazy things. I think the liberals have went so far off the wagon because they just run with anything that MSNBC or CNN says, and they don't really think for themselves. Again, I give Bill credit here that at least he has half of a brain to think for himself and at least formulate his own opinion without running with the same mob mentality, so I give him credit for that.
Me, you're right, they took none. I said, well, you should remind your boyfriend in Saudi Arabia that the next time you see him. He laughed. I never felt I had to walk on eggshells around him. And honestly, I voted for Clinton and Obama, but I would never feel comfortable talking to them the way I was able to talk with Donald Trump. That's just how it went down. Make of it what you will. Me, I feel it's emblematic of why the Democrats are so unpopular these days.
So what did everybody think of this interview? I really liked it. I thought we need to bring unity to this country. The last thing we need is people always jumping down each other's throats and just really, trying to hate the other side. I don't think the country was built on hate. It was built more on love and togetherness, which I realize is a rare commodity in today's time. I appreciate how he can come out and actually say stuff that other people just don't want to say, or maybe they don't want to believe. I think what you see on the news is just you always hear Trump bad, Trump bad, Trump bad, and you never really hear any of the good stories. Look, I'm not saying the man is perfect in any way, but in my eyes, he's far better than the last president we had. I mean, if you look at the last 4 years, they've been absolutely disastrous. There's no shock that he got in. You know what I mean? Like, that's one thing I think liberals need to take into account is, like, think about why he got in the first place. If it wasn't for all these crazy policies and all these, liberal nut jobs running around acting crazy, he probably would have never got in necessarily. Well, actually, I think he would have, because I think that people were tired of what's going on and they want to see the tides turn. But I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Again, if you guys like these videos, like and subscribe, and I'm definitely back here on YouTube to upload content, so you folks have a wonderful weekend. Thank you.